Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. I guess good morning, depending on where you are today. It is currently live. We're currently live on YouTube and on Zoom. And so, for those folks that are watching this in a recording, it's nice to see you, but we can't answer your questions. If you do have questions after the fact today, just send a note to dave@busyweb.com and or just reach out to us at hello@busyweb.com, and we'd be happy to join you. I am Dave Meyer with BusyWeb. And this is our talk today about digital marketing trends for 2024. Trigvi and I have been combing the marketing world for the past month to get a hold of all of our trends. And there are so many new things that happened in 2023 that are really starting to take hold that I think this is going to be really interesting as we look at this particular moment in time and try to broadcast or forecast out what's going to happen over the coming year. Because I think the theme of 2024 is going to be you ain't seen nothing yet. So if you do have questions during today's event, you are absolutely welcome to post those questions via either the webinar chat or even better over the Q&A tool, because then I'll be able to go through and answer those questions live. I am also keeping an eye on the YouTube live stream chat. So if you do have questions in the chat, you are welcome to post those questions at any time. And I will do my best to answer those live as we go through as well. A little bit about us and BusyWeb first. Who the heck are we? We are a Minneapolis-based sales enablement and growth marketing agency. We focus on business to business services to help our customers really grow and build the trust that they need to close more leads and deals. We are HubSpot Platinum partners. We are accredited with HubSpot and among the best in the world at helping businesses to actually use HubSpot for them. So there's a big difference between just buying HubSpot and starting with it, or even purchasing HubSpot as a agency or as a business and having HubSpot help you onboard. We actually take HubSpot and all of the tools inside of CRM, website, service, sales, and help you integrate that fully into your entire business. And we have a fantastic team that does that. We do have 10 folks online already, and I know that we have a lot more. I believe the total number was closer to 35 as far as total registrants. So hopefully we'll keep having more folks on. But for those people that are with me here live, if you do have questions, again, launch those questions via the Q&A tool. And if you have other chat that you'd like to reach out on, by all means, please connect out, reach out, and just give us a holler. And at the end, if we have time, I would love to actually chat with you. And so what we'll probably do at the end is if you raise your hand inside of Zoom, I'll be able to turn on your microphones and then we'll be able to have a nice chat. All right, so let's get down to business. Trigvi is actually helping one of our customers that walked into the office today because he is in person with me. So it kind of worked out really nicely that he was able to help, but he'll be with us in a few minutes. So without further ado, let's start talking. Oh, speak of the devil, here comes Trigvi. So trends. What do trends even mean nowadays? Everything is changing so fast. And the world of marketing and sales enablement. Chair ready for you. Right.
Super. Hey, everybody. Thanks for letting me come a little late.
Yeah. The idea of trying to put a crystal ball on the world of marketing and sales enablement is getting increasingly fraught, in my opinion, with just all of the different stuff that we have to take into account. So AI has changed everything. It's made a huge difference in productivity for our customers and for the folks that we're working with, but it's also really made it hard to put a solid line in the sand as to what things are going to look like even in a couple of months from now. So we're going to give you a couple of tips, tricks, and details. I'm going to go on a little mini overview into what is happening in artificial intelligence, because that's becoming somewhat of an area of expertise for me by necessity. And then we're going to talk about 5 other big things that I think are likely to happen over the coming 12 months and that we're excited to take advantage of as a business and for our clients. So let's get started and talk first, of course, about artificial intelligence. So there's ChatGPT,
So many
there's
different versions
Bard,
of the same thing.
there's ChatSpot, which is one of our favorites, and I can't wait to tell you a little bit more about that. Photoshop has extended their generative fill. So what we're seeing now is the machines. It's not Skynet, it's not spooky or crazy, but if you've played with any of these tools, it's easy to spot at a glance that this is going to be transformative or at least very different for what we've been doing versus what we're going to be able to work with. It's like having Jarvis, if you're a Marvel guy, and you're Tony Stark, that you've got somebody that you're going to be able to physically
That's a
really
that's a deep
talk.
cut for you. You're not really,
Nerdy.
comic book guy.
I can be nerdy if I gotta.
Wow, okay.
So, but really, what we're seeing now is algorithms, not necessarily really true AI, but algorithms are starting to be more and more helpful at kind of an explosive level. Where if you've played with, in particular, ChatGPT or Bard, the ability to just converse with a tool and to have it give you something useful back, and then to be able to engage that in conversation to continually sharpen the results and the response, it's just massive. If I was in education, and a lot of folks, I have two kids. Trigby has one who's 9.
He's 9, yeah.
And so for the 9-year-old, he's not going to understand any time when he wasn't able to just talk to his computer. By the time he gets many things done.
We're having problems with him understanding basic things like episodic television.
Right, because you can't, because
What
it's
do you
just
mean I have to wait a
always
week for the next episode?
Exactly. And for my kids, we're working with them. My daughter's a senior in high school, and she is doing papers for college courses. And the temptation is there just to let ChatGPT write an article for you,
which I think is
you need to be a smart consumer.
One of the things that everybody you need to be aware of is that what artificial intelligence is truly it's in the name. It's artificial. It can be helpful, but it doesn't replace actual intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I had a great experience was this year was I'd been working with a company that had a very specific niche of what they were doing and how they were doing it, and they were worried about blog writing. And I said, "Oh, well, have you discovered ChatGPT?" And I prompted ChatGPT to write a 500 per word blog on a specific topic. And to ChatGPT's credit, it did. It's great. But then it turned around and I sent it to the person. And her response back about 24 hours later was, "This is great. This is awesome. And this has absolutely no basis in reality. And all of this is completely false."
Mm-hmm.
So it was well written and it sounded great,
yeah,
but it didn't actually do anything.
Yep.
The other thing that I wanted to mention, which is a cheap naked plug for our podcast, which is called Dial It In.
Yeah.
Last year in 2023, we actually did a podcast with the ChatGPT robot where we asked the ChatGPT robot questions. And one of the things that Dave, you had seen was that it sort of repeated itself the longer you got into it.
Correct.
The more long form you got into it. It was kind of, and the analogy was kind of like a sixth grader who had a book report that didn't really read the book.
Right.
Like Tom Sawyer is a book about a boy named Tom who has adventures.
Yes, and he appears to be a Sawyer.
And his last name is Sawyer. All of those things are true, but at the end of the day, really when in our world, as we're trying to get people's attention and get people to take action, it gets harder and harder to do that when you're not you're not having that direct contact. So what I think of as an artificial intelligence is it's not a replacement for anything. What you should be thinking about it is as an accelerator for the administrata of your life, and how to shorten the time doing the things that you are preventing you from having meaningful relationships with your prospects and customers.
Absolutely. Yeah, I kind of view it as it's an easy way to do the dumb and boring things
Hmm.
so that you can continue to be brilliant. And that's really where we're setting our stake in the ground at BusyWeb with our customers, with what we're doing with our audience, and saying, okay, well, here's the difference. We can give you a start, or AI can give you a start or help you brainstorm topics, but it really still takes a learned hand, someone with training and real intelligence, to really highlight and motivate and connect at a personal level with people. And so, just kind of top level, the big ones to watch I've listed on screen here. I think there's lots more. And if we've learned anything over the past year, when none of these were available in prime time, there's going to be more, and it's going to be much better than it was even in December of 2023. By this time next year, I don't even know where we're going to be, but I guarantee it's going to be, a good chunk of it is going to be something that we hadn't even thought of. So, Nicholas says hello and thanks for your invaluable insights. We're absolutely delighted to have you here with us.
Is that Nicholas from Montana?
I believe so. So this is amazing. We've got a huge crowd here today, and thank you all again. It is, he says.
Nicholas
So,
from Montana has a really neat SMS program
ooh, sweet.
called Check This Out that everybody really
dig it.
should check out. It's basically for restaurants, but he has figured out how to do it and do it right.
Love it.
It's industry specific, but it's definitely worth checking out.
Sweet. So we're not going to go into deep depth on any of these AI tools, but I do want to give us a little bit of a demo into what prompt engineering is about, because I think that's semi-instructive, especially if you haven't done anything with AI yet. This is only going to be a couple of slides, but whether you're working in ChatGPT, which is best for just engaging in conversation, and it's kind of the leader right now. Bard is owned by Google, and it's really great at tipping into the data that you already have, especially if you're in the Google world. You can have it review all of your Google Drive or all of your emails, and you can have it say, summarize the last 5 conversations that I've had with Mike Smith, and it'll actually tell you that. The big danger, and that I share in one of my AI talks, is that when any of these AI tools, these generative ones in particular, give you results, sometimes they just straight up, like Trigvi mentioned, they just make it up, they lie. And it's not that they're trying to goof around, but like if you're a student and you say, give me a book report on XYZ, and that book isn't in the public domain and it hasn't been read, GPT will just straight up make up a book report based on what other book reports it's seen in its.
There was an example of an attorney in New York who
Mhm.
tried to use ChatGPT for his brief, and I think one of the cases that was cited was finders versus keepers.
Oh my Lord. Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Which was out there in the ether that somebody made up as a spoof, but it wasn't a real thing. It was
Right.
finders versus keepers.
Mhm. So you really got to be careful. But as I go down the list here, I'm not going to demo these unless we have a little bit of time at the end. But ChatSpot is absolutely brilliant at interacting with data. It's HubSpot's own personal AI that it's built, and you can say, give me a list of all of the companies using HubSpot, or let's say Salesforce, in Montana, and it will give us a list. And then you can, with one click, add that data into your CRM. And then with another click, you could theoretically have it generate the outline of a blog post and then customize that blog post for those people.
I think one of the ones that we really like, Dave, is the next slide, which is ChatSpot. And
Yeah.
so foundationally, and as we work in the B2B world or even B2C world, so much of your life needs to be focused on good data and personalized data, which means that you've got to have a championship level CRM. And if you have that, then what you can do is you can use artificial intelligence to help do better things. So the one that we like is called ChatSpot, that ties into HubSpot.
Right.
You can do one of the things that you can use it for, which is great, is things like tell me everybody who owns a restaurant in Miami, in Montana, and it'll make you a list. Or find everybody in my CRM that has more than $1 million in revenue.
Right.
It'll go out and compare to other things, and then turn out and come with a list. What's really neat is that it can also go into your CRM and help summarize data, because that's when you're working in sales, that's one of the things that gets frustrating, is finding the proverbial needle in the haystack. Well, now you have a tool that you can just ask it for, and it will tell you. The other thing that I really like about ChatSpot, Dave, is that, and we don't really have a slide for it, but it's got templates, because like any tool, if you get a 64-piece Swiss Army knife, you're like, wow, what is this thing that looks like a fork? What am I going to do with that?
Right.
It actually has templates, and it has ways in which to help prompt you to how to get you going.
Yeah.
And with anything like this, the more advanced you get, the cooler it gets, and the more expert level you get. But for those knuckleheads who just want to get started, this is a fantastic tool that, especially if you've got HubSpot, that we've really been enjoying here at BusyWeb.
Yeah, it's super, super cool. And as a matter of fact, for those of you that hang on until the end of today's talk, I will do a live demo. We're going to turn off the live stream to YouTube for that. I have it in a demo account, but just it changes so much, and I want to be super careful on data integrity for anyone, that in case there's a weird screen that might pop up, I will be happy to give you an overview in live data on ChatSpot, because I think it's just amazing, and it's completely free. You don't need to have HubSpot for it. You just need to go to chatspot.ai. All right, so let me get into a little bit of prompt engineering for a second. And again, this is 4 slides worth that I'm going to go super
engineering.
fast.
What's that, Dave?
So that is the idea of creating different prompts with a generative talking AI tool. So whether it's Bard or ChatGPT or any of the other ones, you really need to, in the smartest way possible, ask it questions. So here's some examples that you can do with ChatGPT or with Bard. Help me identify keywords and effective content to reach, and then list out your marketing persona to reach Millie Marketer, a 37-year-old CFO or CMO, I should say, for a mid-sized manufacturing company based in Illinois. So you give it all of that data, and then it'll kick out a perfectly formed set of ideas based on what it was able to find. Or ask me questions to help create a marketing strategy for XYZ company. And then you got to give some details about your company. This is what Millie Marketer was. So she was, 5 years in experience, SEO, pay-per-click, and email marketing, a marketing specialist. Her location is Sioux Falls, South Dakota, in this case. But keywords to reach her, you want to use these keywords: SEO best practices, advanced PPC strategies, and so on and so forth. So you can see that it gives you this. This took me 3 seconds to build. Used to take hours to build great personas, but this is super easy. How about content? Generate a blog post for XYZ audience that highlights the benefits of your product or your service or your company, and encourages them to do whatever you want them to do, whatever that specific action is. Subscribe for our newsletter, give us a call, make a purchase, whatever that is. And then help me outline a series of emails that aligns with the consideration phase of the buyer's journey.
I think this is a really great illustrative example of how you can use this. I am of the opinion, Dave, that one of the most terrifying things that any grown adult can face is a blank piece of paper, and then and then an order to create something. So it's important that if you use a tool like this and you ask it to do content creation, that's great. And your next reaction was going to be, well, gosh, that doesn't sound like me.
Right.
That's the point, because you've asked it to build you this thing, and now you don't have to write it.
Right.
All you have to do is edit it
Yep.
and make it be your own.
Yep. With the huge caveat that this is generative, and so it still relies on your thinking. So just because Google or ChatGPT are telling you these things, it doesn't mean that it's gospel. It
Yeah.
does mean that you have something on screen that then requires your expert brain to take the rest of the way.
Always remember finders versus keepers.
Right, right. So not helpful in that case. So let's see what Bard can do. So especially in search engine optimization or SEO or pay-per-click marketing, um, Google is probably the leader, as you would imagine, in generative text for these things. So if you ask Bard and if you just Google Bard, it'll take you to the page to generate it now. But give me a list of long tail keywords that will attract more qualified traffic for, and then whatever your product or service is. Or help me optimize this post for organic search rankings. And this is interesting to try in both ChatGPT and Bard because they deliver very different content. The Google one is a little bit smarter and a little bit more keyword optimized, in my opinion, but you should give it a shot. Or help me write an effective ad using the most popular keywords for, again, your product or service. So this is what Bard kicks out. Generate a blog post for owners of B2B businesses specializing in manufacturing that highlights the benefits of BusyWeb and encourages them to register for an upcoming webinar. So this took me 7 seconds, and it created a fully formed, not perfect blog, but a whole lot better than an empty screen, like we was saying. So you can have those conversations. So that is the overview on GPT or generative AI. And so you should give it a shot. It's one of the biggest things that happened this year, and it's going to be one of the biggest things that happens over the coming year. Next up, this is kind of one of my geeky, nerdy things.
Yeah.
So
Let's hear it.
Augmented reality. If you haven't heard of like Meta, they have their Meta Vision Quest. If you've not heard of any of the face goggles or chat or Snapchat had their goggles or their
You're not talking about
the
Google
lens.
glasses, are you, Dave?
There's those that happened as well. I mean, people have tried this and have tried to make, or different businesses have tried it. In typical Apple fashion, Apple waits a while and then it creates something that is just 7 levels better than anything that's ever come before. So this is one of the things that I'm most excited about for 2024. And you will see me wearing one, I'm sure, over the coming year. I'm going to look like a nerd and a geek, and it's okay. But augmented reality is going to be an entirely different experience. The difference between what Apple is doing with the Vision Pro and what we've seen in all other versions of augmented reality or even virtual reality is that it's a screen, but it's completely integrated with your actual environment. So the Vision Pro actually has amazing level detail monitors and cameras in it so that you're looking at your real world, and then all of these things just pop up. And just like in Minority Report or whatever, you're swiping around, you're touching things, you're typing, you're just talking to it. This is the first iteration where you're actually interacting with that for real. So there's a lot of demos. I would encourage you to go to YouTube or to Apple to just get a Vision Pro demo. But this is coming out probably, I'm going to guess, like mid-year in 2024. But when it does, it's going to be insanely different as the way, this is going to be one of those things. I remember, you're going to tell your grandkids, I remember before you put something on your dang face and like a goofball. So that's the kind of thing that's I believe this is one of the bigger things that's going to happen over the coming year. So figuring out how to interact with the real world as a marketer and how to create realistic and engaging content that doesn't overwhelm is going to be a big thing. But we're just going to see the start of that next year.
We're going to talk about Elon, huh?
It's going to happen.
We got to talk about Elon.
Everything's yep. So you may have heard over the past year that
Here we go.
a certain rocket aficionado and guy that really likes electric cars has completely shook up the world of social media. So Twitter, aka X, because Elon decided that he wanted to have it be an all-inclusive platform and completely rebrand. um, is really working toward becoming an all-inclusive platform versus just snippets of text. So it's going to be payments. It's going to be like WhatsApp. It's going to be completely or WhatsApp in the Asian world or in China, and I think Taiwan. Like there's a lot, but like especially like like in some of the bigger cities in China, you can do everything in your life out of WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And that's what Elon wants Twitter, aka X, to do. But that kind of ruined everything else.
Well, I think in discussing AI, I think
Mhm.
that leads into a really nice transition to what happened to X. And
Yeah.
I think on the 50 cajillion foot level, Musk had the right idea, which is
Mhm.
social media on the whole got compartmentalized, and you got to a point where you'd only listen to the people who agree with you, and that's
Mhm.
wrong. That's the right idea to have.
Right.
But the problem in doing so, because robots and content creators have gotten so great,
Mhm.
Twitter and X especially was something that could very much get into building out artificial plots and
Right.
artificial accounts and
Mhm.
influence people. And you saw that the 2016 election. One of the things that was so brilliant about Donald Trump's
Mhm.
election campaign is he didn't focus on anything that wasn't undecideds, and he focused
Right.
only on undecideds, and he used
Right.
technology like that in order to do it.
Mhm.
The
Yep.
problem, though, obviously, that everybody knows is that Elon can't shut up and
Mhm.
can't and in he has not leveled the playing field as much as made mid-level to left-leaning people
Mhm.
just walk away from the platform entirely.
Right.
So as you think about your social media strategy, social media still is incredibly important, but you have to be more mindful than ever of the where you're
Yep.
spending time
Yep.
and how you're spending, and things like this and the shenanigans of Elon does matter,
Mhm.
because if that turns off your customers or if that attracts your customers, depending,
Mhm.
the goal is success, and the goal is building a business. And if you have people there, then you need to be there.
Right.
And if you and you might have emotional or philosophical or political objections, all of which are completely valid,
Mhm.
then you have to make a decision of what level of integrity that you want to have. And that's why you're seeing a lot of people saying, I don't get what's going on, and we're not going to play until you figure it out.
Right. Well, and Musk again, not shutting up. He outright last week told advertisers to go F themselves. And
I don't
that's
think that's a good
probably
sales
not
strategy.
something, yeah, that's probably not something that you want to do. And so, yeah, just kind of in general, I think what we learned in 2023 is that you really can't bet the farm on any one technology. And just like safe investing, you need to have a rounded out portfolio
Yeah.
of all of the different ways to engage with your audience, because a lot of folks put a lot of time and effort into Twitter, and it's effectively completely blown up. We had right at the beginning of the purchase, at the beginning of the year, Musk let anyone who wanted to pay for a verified check mark, little blue check, and people logged in, changed their names to the New York Times, and they had a certified blue check mark because
Yeah.
they spent $5 on it, and it massively impacted stock prices.
Mhm.
And it could have sparked a world engagement of some sort. It could have started a war, because you had people that were claiming to be foreign dictators
Well, I
saying,
think
hey, the nukes are on the way.
you're seeing that a lot in the Israel Hamas conflict.
It's
Is
incredibly
um,
crazy.
it's essentially being weaponized for both
Mhm.
sides.
100%. As far as the tools that popped up out of the stumble of Twitter, Threads is Facebook, aka Meta's answer to Twitter. It's based off of and pulls from everything in Instagram. So it basically takes all of your Instagram users, and anyone that signs up is automatically added to your threads if you're connected on Insta already. So that's why it had such a massive immediate pop. Blue Sky. I understand that the way to actually pronounce that is Blueski,
Blueski?
which is weird, but hey, that's social media for you. But Blueski and some of the other open source chats, Discord is making a play for social and text-based engagement. Meantime, TikTok and other visual social, Snapchat, to some extent, but TikTok and its algorithm is really, really starting to win. It's actually it's the third largest search space now.
Yep.
Over, there's Google, there's YouTube, and now it's TikTok is number three, not the Microsoft tools, not DuckDuckGo. It is truly becoming, people are just searching for visual media as much as they're searching for anything else.
And should you be concerned that TikTok is owned by China? I don't know. It's as Dave said, it's the third biggest search engine in the world right now.
Right. So should you make a play on it? In my opinion, if you're not at least looking at it and kind of connecting and seeing what you could do, you're probably setting yourself up for some pain in the near future, because it's just changing the way people are interacting. And we're talking about trends.
Yeah.
So visual searchable media is becoming very big. All right, so let's keep going through, because we have a couple more, and I do want to get into your questions, because we had 40 questions.
Awesome questions.
It was amazing. So I want to get through those. And again, if you're watching with us live, pop those questions into the Q&A tool. Nicholas, I did see that you asked a question in chat, and I'll be sure to answer that as we get to it.
This is really where the winning is going to happen in 2024.
Yeah.
We've talked about robots. We've talked about the insanity of social media. What is going to be the winning strategy for you is connecting on a hand-to-hand level.
Yeah.
Which is to say, how can you figure out what somebody wants, how they want to hear it, and when they want to hear it, and then that's how you communicate to them. It goes back to the concept of that making the most out of your CRM, because now you can actually get to the point where you can have customized websites based on the person's topic interest and even what they've interacted with, which will then sort of recreate the site. One of the things you see in e-commerce is that so many people have gotten to what's called the Amazon effect, that if you're going to do e-commerce, it has to be 4 clicks or less.
That's right.
And they're gone just because the world has been conditioned to that now. So what is really neat, though, is that you can create an individualized customer experience over time to people. But doing so on the front end, that's just creepy, and you don't want to do that. But if you can, as your relationship deepens, as people start to understand you more and what you want and what you're interested in, you can really get into that. Like, one of the things that we do all the time when we build out a manufacturing website is there's sort of 2 different things that a manufacturer might need. Is number one is the traditional, hey, here's what problem we solve and why you should hire with us.
Right.
But then there's also the people that are down on the line who are using micrometers and want every conceivable spec.
That's right.
Those 2 groups of people have 2 very disparate needs. You can get to the point now where you can have one website that solves both.
Right. And if you just go to yourcompany.com, if you know that it's persona A that is much more technical visiting because they've interacted with you before, you can just hit them with your specs and information and data sheets that you need. If it's a CXO person or someone that's looking for the business decisions and the higher level content, you can say, here's the revenue implications for your business or for XYZ, and have it talk to that person. This is one of the reasons why we switched to HubSpot CMS for all of our websites that we build, including our own, last like a year ago now. So it's just over a year ago that we switched over to HubSpot, but we have customized dynamic content on our website, and you wouldn't know it visiting. As a matter of fact, go ahead and check it out and see if you can spot where that information
also
is customized.
Quick naked plug for HubSpot, because people think, oh my God, that's really expensive. We're building websites on HubSpot that the carrying cost of a HubSpot website is $20-$30 a month, depending on the instance. hyper personalization does cost more, but
Yes.
if you've got a basic website that you really hate working on WordPress because it's so ticky-tack, it's kind of like having a vintage Jag. Yeah, WordPress is awesome, but the very next thing you need is a mechanic.
Right.
HubSpot you should definitely think about HubSpot in 2024.
Yeah. And even if you haven't wanted to play with it before, if you have something or a personal project that you think you might benefit from, on occasion, as being in the business for 25 years now, as of next year, BusyWeb gets a lot of solicitations and questions and people that have just started out a business and say, hey, I just need the cheapest way to get started. HubSpot websites start out free.
Yeah.
So I just tell them, go ahead, join up. You can have a contact us page at you.com, and it's completely free. There's no better deal out there. And then it's ready to grow when you are.
Yep.
So, all right, let's keep going. Voice search and alternative search. Hey, Google. Hey, Siri. See if it answers me. Nope. Good. Thank you.
Hey, Siri.
No.
Oh, there's mine. Mine went off.
Behave, Siri.
Quiet, right. Siri. Thank you.
So the ability to ask and to speak with the machines, especially as we get deeper and deeper into artificially augmented or algorithmically augmented data, the ability to have that content at your fingertips, at the raise of your wrist if you have a watch, including the ability to take a phone and take a picture of something, or just hover your phone over something and have it give you more detail about it, especially as we get into the augmented reality with Vision
that's
Pro.
An amazing thing.
There's so much opportunity now, but as a business, you need to start thinking about how your content can be better consumed. We posted a blog post a year ago already on how to write for voice search and how to optimize to SEO, to search engine optimize your website for voice. And it's just about natural language.
Yeah.
And including things that people would ask if they were just talking to the machine instead of typing keywords in.
And that's kind of the knock on SEO people on the whole, is they tend to focus on Boolean search strings.
Yep.
Which nobody ever talks like that.
Exactly.
There's a great web series called What If Google Was the Guy?
Yeah.
That kind of blows that out. It's hilarious, and it's totally not safe for work. So don't watch it until you go home. But it's illustrative of the importance of natural language in your search, because more people want to use tools to have a conversation, which then the robot picks out the Boolean search string and gives you the answer, instead of having to talk to it like you're a just disjointed robot.
Right. It kind of feels like, to me, we have now entered into a world where we can talk directly to the machines, whether it's via vision or via voice. And our job as marketers is to become the translator. So we have to figure out how to make our content consumable by the machines, so that when people are talking to it, the machine can give us what they're looking for. So just slightly different. We have to be okay as marketers in speaking geek in order to get into the machines so that we can make it easier for people.
The really important thing to and this is going to transition into Dave's last slide, is the Ricky Bobby mindset of search, which is you're not going to get a list. If somebody's asking their Google Home for an answer, you're going to get one answer and that's it.
Right.
You're not going to get more. So if you're not first in voice search, you are last.
Right. Yeah, you're not going to keep scrolling. If you say, hey, I'm locked out of my car, can you get me the closest locksmith? If you're number 2, you're not going to be seen at all.
Yep.
All right, so business intelligence. This is where things are getting interesting and nerdy. So you're going to have to bear with us for a second, because what you can do with information is about to get much better, because the data and the integration is getting deeper. This is one that you were particularly excited about. So I'm going to let you nerd out about this one, indeed.
Super excited about this. So Clearbit is it's a data realization company. So basically what it does is it takes your CRM, and there are all sorts of places that do this. So this isn't an ad for Clearbit by any means, but what it does then is it fills out the data. So if I say I have dave.meyer@busyweb.com, which is Dave's email, and that's all that I have. Tools like Clearbit will then fill out what's the mailing address, what's Dave's position, how long has the company been in business, how much revenue is it, what's their tech stack, all sorts of information that would help me have a better sales conversation is now clickable, and I don't have to go find it, and then I don't have to go add it into the into the CRM, which, as anybody knows, is the kiss of death is when you're asking salespeople to fill out forms. You're just gonzo. So this was a company. It's a huge company that was acquired by HubSpot.
Like a month ago.
Sometime in 2024, it's going to get enveloped into the entire HubSpot ecosystem. So the operative question is it going to be part of the package, or is it going to be an add-on? And that we don't know yet. But one of the things that was really neat, and again, this is going to get a little nerdy, is in 2017, President Trump signed a law that said that internet service providers could sell your metadata without your consent. And so as a result of that, there were a number of companies that sprung up that would then give you real-time access to that information. So essentially what that means in 2024 is that now places like Clearbit can tell you what are the 10 companies that have looked at your website yesterday. Which then from a marketing standpoint means, are these the people we want to be talking to? Do we have any idea who these people are? Should we call them up, or should we revise our marketing and revise our website? So it helps get you smarter, and it's a great leveler and advantage for technology in 2024.
Love it. But let's contrast that with the fact that privacy is becoming a bigger deal. So everybody, it's a touch word, it's a watchword, it's something that everyone's talking about and thinking about. You have the ability to ask not to be tracked. And more companies are struggling with that. What happens when you simply don't know about a person because they've walled themselves off? So instead, what we need to do in 2024 is focus on permission and getting people to offer that information by offering value. So you need to get a click through a call to action, and that call to action needs to ask them a little bit of information, and then you need to meet the expectation that you've promised in order to keep engaging in information exchange with that person. So as a result of these privacy changes, what you'll find is your analytics will have gone completely and utterly haywire. It's going very different.
The other thing that Dave didn't mention is Apple's new iOS system has a ton of privacy filters built in. What is the result of that? The result of that is you really don't have a good understanding anymore of simple things like how many people came to my website in the last month. And the different tool sets you use, we're going to give you a different answer. So we use arguably the industry standard to judge those kind of things. And the three tools that we use will more than likely give three different completely disparate answers every single time. So as a result of that, you have to get in a little deeper. What do we want to consider what a visit is? How long are they staying? How many pages are they going to? Things like that. And then you can match up. And so this is an unfortunate thing where you really are going to have to figure out what is your truth and stick with that.
Beautiful. So in general, then, the trends that we're spotting and that we've gone through, let's see, there's AI, there's data integration, there's privacy, there's social media and talking, and the fact that it's all blown up. So there's a lot that has changed, and that's going to change in 2024. Here's what's not going to change. Email is still a great tool. So email's not dead. Every year, everybody says email's dead. Now we're probably going to see a lot more AI-enabled email that's going to give it more utility and make it feel more or less spammy, I should say.
There's a great trick to be able to tell AI email. Can I share it?
Sure.
Yeah. So we do this, and if you have a public-facing thing, so like your LinkedIn profile. On our LinkedIn profile here at BusyWeb, we say BusyWeb and then digital solutions to grow your business.
So that's the name of the company.
It's the title of our page. And so anytime we get an email that says, Hey Dave, I'm so excited that I found you, and I love what you're doing at Busy Web Digital Solutions to grow your business. Like, oh, okay, yay, robot time.
Delete, thank you. Or it gives us more SEO value
Mhm.
because we've included some of our keywords in there, but then conversely, it helps us to root out the spam bots much easier and
Yep.
much more quickly. So I'd recommend that. Social content is still great. Influencers are still going to engage. You have to build relationships with people. Traditional media and IRL, in real life marketing, continues to be powerful. And actually, we're seeing more like direct mail is more useful than it has been in the past 10 years because almost no one's using direct mail anymore. So if you want to stand out, send people a lumpy bit of mail and you're like, oh my goodness,
It
what's
is
this crazy thing?
it is pricey,
It can
and
be,
the
yeah,
ROI, even in the best of worlds, isn't great.
right. But it's better than it was before.
Yeah.
So it's happening. So now, without further ado, and we asked you to submit questions. We got more than 40 of them.
Well,
We only have 13 minutes left. I do want to start with Nicholas's question. And he asked, what do you hear from your clients regarding interest in SMS marketing solutions for 2024? I'll say that there's a ton of interest.
I think SMS is a
Yeah.
huge thing right now.
Mhm.
Really, it's the old Babe Ruth idea: is you go where the customers are,
Yep.
and everybody is there's still value in the phone, but SMS is absolutely critical in 2024. And
Yeah.
so as a result of that, what I use it for is direct one-to-one communication,
Mhm.
or sometimes I get deals. And so every once in a while I get deals.
Mhm.
The trick of that is the deal has to have value,
Yeah.
and it has to have value for you, and it has value for somebody else. And
Right.
I talked about Nicholas's tool. Check this out. One of the cool things about that tool is that it's set up that it will help make more sellers.
Mhm.
So if I'm repping a restaurant, Dave, and you get a text from me saying, hey, here's a link for a $20 gift card
Mhm.
to go to the restaurant, then I would also get a gift card if you
Yeah.
bought as well.
Super cool.
So
Yeah.
the concept of what hasn't changed of give is still, everybody's got to win out of it,
Mhm.
is still important. And so what you see a lot in e-commerce is people are using SMS for deal making.
Mhm.
I think one of the reasons why I'm so hot on his tool is because it's not about that. It's about value upselling.
Right. Right. For sure. Amazing. So here's some of the other questions. I've got 3 slides worth of questions at this level. So we're going to go kind of fast.
I think we got all these.
Lead gen trends, I think we covered a little bit, just the fact that you need to be more engaging and focus on using some of that data to then hyper personalize
Yep.
that content. That's a big lead gen trend for us. And I think that's probably the biggest way. People are just going to get more useful and they're going to use that extra utility to engage better. And that's your biggest lead gen trend for the next year, in my opinion. How ChatGPT is going to change the marketing aspect for micro businesses. What you really see with micro businesses is that there's micro budgets,
Mhm.
and the pro version of ChatGPT is $20 a month.
Yep.
So that lets you do much crazier things and much more interesting things with GPT in general. And the thing that you need to understand about any of these generative, AI algorithm based tools, it's not really artificial intelligence. It's just people using smart algorithms to spit out information.
Yeah.
Is if you give the algorithm better inputs, you're going to get better outputs.
Yeah.
And so that's prompt engineering. You have to ask it smarter. So you have to say, I want this, but I am not this. Or I have a super prompt that helps the GPT actually ask you a series of questions to generate the perfect prompt. And so you can get so smart by using the tool to help edit itself,
Mhm.
which is crazy. Where do I see SMS fitting into the digital marketing landscape? We just talked about that. How to use AI to help create or write articles, social media posts. We talked about that a little bit, but
Create good, write bad.
correct.
Always edit.
Bingo. So you can tell if you've spent any time in this space, you can tell an AI generated article immediately. It's very circular, it's very kind of cold, and it doesn't have the level. What we're going to see, and what a lot of agencies are going to do is they're going to lean heavily on, we are experts and you're getting actual real humans. It's the difference between microwaving a hamburger and having a chef prepare it for you. You can get the same warm meat both ways, but it's an entirely different experience. And it's going to, again, we're trying to get people to engage with us at a deeper, better level because people are getting smarter along with this. They can smell something that's fishy a mile away. So that's what you need to work on. Other AI platforms to use besides GPT, we had that list earlier. Best times of the day to post on social media platforms. This is where I love it. Do you want to give this one?
Sure.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yep.
I don't know.
It's different based on who you are,
who your audience is, where they want to when they want to ingest the content.
Yep.
What's the most valuable time? So we've been talking about Nicholas a lot when his tool focuses on restaurants. If you have a restaurant, the best time to hit people is Thursday at 1:00 because they're about ready to go on a payday, so they're willing to bankrupt themselves for a good time on a Thursday night. Right. But by Friday, they've already made plans. They've got family stuff, etc. If you are a B2B, usually the book would say Monday morning, but now everybody's doing that on Monday morning.
Right.
So doing testing and figuring out when you get the kind of results you want, then that is an answer that is going to be meaningful to you, and it's going to be completely non-replicable for anybody else.
Yep. So test and measure. And make sure that you continue to test because what worked for you this month might not work next month. And so you need to have an eye on your analytics at all times. If something drops or changes, you need to be ready to pivot and move on. Okay, so that's social media platforms, any algorithm changes that we've seen over the past year. Everything's just getting smarter. And so algorithmically, we are just seeing, that is what ChatGPT is. That is what Bard is. It's just smart usage of a whole bunch of things where it's going in and it's hoovering up data and imparting some Boolean thought, big word, but you're literally just seeing smarter and smarter bets that are happening because of a massive data set. So what we're seeing in changes in algorithms, it's just going to get smarter because it keeps referring to itself and quote unquote learning from itself. We're just learning smarter ways to ask the questions. Ideas on way to make content variable throughout the year to keep up with trends. Use tools like Google Trends, use tools like GPT or Bard to get an idea for what's coming up or what's changing. Use stuff like what we're about to be able to offer through Clearbit in HubSpot to give information based on data. CRM post-pandemic, we're starting to see some backlash and some things are starting to get back into the office. But I think that bell has been rung. We are never going to see an entire office-focused workforce anymore. And so people have just, the timelines are completely spaced out because people are checking their emails for work later and earlier and different. Event marketing has completely changed because before it was about getting out of the office that you hated to be in and going to network. And now it's getting out of your comfy slippers. And people are much less interested in getting out of their slippers or going out of their house. And so events are harder. But CRM in particular, it's more change in the AI and the level and the usefulness of the data than anything else, right?
I think any difference from a CRM, it's never been more important to pick up the phone and call people.
Oh, yeah. If you want to stand out, actually be useful and reach out.
Yeah, because there's so many tools that there's so much noise, is you can drive yourself batty trying to write the best email possible. Just pick up a phone and trying to develop a relationship with somebody.
Right.
That is just as effective as outreach as any marketing thing you can do.
And then specifically for the best ways to maximize reach for advertising for businesses and specifically for a farmer's market, I would actually tease into GPT to get some ideas to brainstorm for that, because I think GPT will be able to, or Bard will be able to give you a couple dozen examples that you'll be able to use.
I would say that if you're trying to maximize reach for a farmer's market, this is a great example. Is what you can get at a farmer's market is a commodity. What you get at a grocery store is the exact same thing you get at the farmer's market, but it's a completely different experience. And also, it's really not the same thing. And if you show the local farmers and the people there, and you get people to realize the smell of a farmer's market, then all of a sudden that's exciting. And you don't do that through words, you do that through visual content.
TikToks.
More pictures, more pictures. If you have that little guy who plays the trumpet who comes and does his version of Le'Veon Rose every set. Put that on TikTok.
Live music. Yeah.
What you are trying to do with these tools is you are trying to have somebody want to have a positive experience or remember a positive experience they've had and replicate it. So visual content.
Yes,
for a farmer's market.
I want to tip in because we're running short on time. I want to give people this before you guys go, and then we're going to get to the rest of the questions. But if you want any more information on this, we've wrapped up a bunch of these trends into our guide to digital marketing. So go to marketing.busyweb.com and then digital-marketing guide. So take a quick snapshot of that, click it. You'll get an email from us after this. But check that out. And then next month, we're doing paid versus organic versus technical SEO. We're going to get a little bit nerdy in January, and we're going to go through what the differences are and how to reach.
This will be incredibly painful to sit through, but stay with me. It'd be incredibly painful to sit through, and then it'd be a lot of things you don't understand. But fundamentally, what you need to come out of that is an understanding of what is my SEO guy doing and what value do I get from it. That's what we're really gonna blow out.
Yeah,
is helping you understand really what are you paying for and what are you getting.
And we've got some absolute experts that are whizzes at making that happen. So, okay. So last couple of questions as we round out. If you have to take off, by all means, don't let us hold you. Thanks for all of the wonderful questions, folks. And we're looking forward to seeing
holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays. It's been an absolute amazing year. What to look out for in 2024, more of the same and accelerating change, I think. What's new and how can we capture more customers in local areas with campaigns and ads? I didn't talk about Google business profiles, but focusing on that, if you have a physical location, is going to be super helpful, and it's also completely free. So Google business profiles, or formerly known as Google My Business, incredibly powerful and still free, and not enough people use it. So it's a great killer tip to stand out among your local competition. Maintaining quality prospects. I think about, you just need to be as useful as possible to those people and know who they are and give them what they want.
Well, there's a 90-10 rule that applies here, is that only 10% of your prospects are actively searching for your solution right now. The other 90 isn't ready to buy yet, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't talk to them.
Right.
You shouldn't be clubbing them over the head with your newest deal.
Right.
What you should be doing is providing them value where they are. So when they are ready to buy, there's no question who they're going to go to.
Right. Love that. What's up and coming and what email marketing trends should we look out for? I would say, again, the hyper personalization, and there's a number of movements and shifts and shaking. Intuit bought MailChimp. So we're going to see that basically get ruined.
MailChimp.
If you've ever wanted, or if you've ever heard the adage, ruined by accounting, there's no better way for that. But there's also probably going to be some big shifts on that side. So I'm going to see a lot of folks. I mean, we use HubSpot for all of our emails, so that's going to stay the same or get better. But there's going to be a lot more noise in that space.
Ton more.
And then platform, social media, YouTube, whatever is going to be the best way to engage with your customers. It really depends on your customers, and you need to test, measure, and tinker to see what works best for your company and your business. We are right at time. Thank you so much.
We did it.
I want to leave you with this caveat. With everything, especially on this AI stuff, remember that you are the expert. Don't ever take any of this data and just kick it out for public use without putting your brain into it. And that goes with everything that we've talked through, as far as, you shouldn't be using custom website content unless you're doing it right. And just letting someone else do it without knowing what you're talking about, I think you are all very smart into being interested in trends and what's coming. I hope this was useful and helpful for you. And here's how to reach us or how to get connected. Just send me an email at dave@busyweb.com. You're getting an email with the guide to digital marketing as a registrant. And thanks, and we'll see you next month. We are right at time. So
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, happy holidays. Bye, everybody.